is the video for people who are brand spanking new, okay? However, people who've been doing it a while could also maybe get something out of it. I have a lot of fighters who've been training for a year or so and come back and the footwork isn't quite right, and we alter something and it improves power, speed, etc. So if you are quite experienced, you might want to skip this video. For those who have not done much or not done anything, this video is for you. And in the future, we will go through a lot more technical, advanced techniques. Okay, these techniques, the way I teach, is my own ideas. Okay, nobody needs to be insulted if they don't agree with it. It's what's worked for me over around 30 years, getting punched in the face. So hopefully you'll get something out of it, and if you don't, it doesn't matter, move on to the next video. Okay, so boxing K1, striking in general, it's all about the footwork in my opinion. It's all about having a good base. Okay, and what I mean by base is the way we stand and the way we move our base around. Okay, so a lot of people you'll get who've done it a year or so, they'll have good hands, they'll be able to throw certain techniques, and then you get them to move and they'll be all over the place. Okay, and they have trouble getting their shots on a target. They have trouble actually making that distance to the opponent or moving back out away from the opponent. So anybody following these videos, I want you to start by really taking pride and concentrating on our footwork and on our base. Okay, because without that, your hands are nothing. Everything comes through your base. And as the videos progress, I'll explain the way I see the mechanics behind a punch. And if you understand how a punch works, that's when we can increase our power and our speed, and we can fine-tune things. So there's a certain way we stand. Okay, the way I teach is, the way I teach, doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong. Nice neutral base. What I mean by neutral base is possibly shoulder width apart, okay? A little bit of bend in our legs. And we want our front foot slightly in-turned. My back foot is going to the heel's going to float. It's going to float off the floor. Don't want to be on my toes, but I want the weight over the front of my feet, okay? If my feet go back and I go up my heels, I've lost balance. Right? There's a reason my front foot is slightly inturned. Why I intern it is because without it, if it's flat, which I'll try and show you on the video in a little bit, if it's turned outwards, as in the traditional Muay Thai defense, okay, then I haven't got as much balance. I haven't got as much movement up here. If it's interned, I've got good balance in a full range of movement all around this base. All right? So, slightly turn the leg. The reason my rear leg, my foot, is slightly lifted, okay, or the heel's floating at the back, if you can see that. Two reasons. One reason, it gives me a bit of suspension, so I'm not risking getting such a flat nose, okay, I can go back on it. Second one is I like to feel my foot is connected. When we start going over the mechanics of the punch, my back hand comes through my back leg. With my foot in this direction, like a sprinter coming out of the blocks, I can just push at any time, and my shot's there. There's a lot of pros, a lot of world champions, a lot better than me, and they have the foot turned like so, and they almost turn and pivot that foot. Great. What that's not going to allow you to do though is the technique that I want to teach you in the future, which is switching stance, okay? We can switch stance a lot better with my foot in that athletic block position, yeah? Because then I can just switch stance and drop into another stance, nice and easy. Okay? But that's further down the line. We're going to teach orthodox or southpaw, depending whether you're left-handed or right-handed. We're going to learn that, we're going to get disciplined with that, so we can move around in that stance no matter what, whether we're getting pressured or whether we're trying to go forward. And then we'll start learning the opposite stance, doing the same, and then we'll transition between the two and become switch fighters. So that's your footwork, okay? And we need that base to move with us, right? So there's a way we move. Right? What I don't want to see, or what I don't like to see, is legs being crossed. Okay, at first, until we start doing the sexy little switches and stuff. Okay, but for now, nice basic stance. We want to learn to keep this base moving forward. So we're going to widen the stance and bring it in. Step, widen, bring it back. Back, yeah? So front foot moves, back foot follows. Back foot moves, front foot follows. Yeah? If I'm going left, left followed by right, right followed by left. And that way my base is still staying wide. I've still got that balance. Okay? And that is the number one exercise to do if you're just starting out. That's what I tell my students to do. Go home and practice that. Boxing stance, forward, back, left, right. Alright? And then mix it up. Okay? Nice basic drill, but an important drill. We need to be able to take that base wherever we go. Coming up the body, we want to be nice and relaxed. Everything wants to be relaxed. Okay? If anything's stiff, then it becomes robotic. It's easy to be seen, you're losing power, everything's got to flow. So everything's relaxed. Knees a little bit bent. Coming up to the body, my hands, my guard. Okay, so if I say keep your guard up, a lot of people start doing this. Well, that's rigid, that's not going to help you. Okay, I don't want your guard down here. It's just nice and relaxed. I kind of keep them, when I'm out of range, they're somewhere near my cheekbones, okay, so they can move. My hands are open, right, because my hands aren't just thumping tools to hit with, they need to be multi-tools. I need to be able to parry, to catch shots, and move around with them hands, right? Multi-tools. So, footwork, moving up the body, nice and relaxed. Elbows are in, hands are relaxed. If our elbows are out and flared, one, we're exposing our ribs to body shots or kicks. And two, if I throw a shot like this, it's much easier for my opponent to read that shot and telegraphing it much more. If my elbows are in, when that shot comes forward, it's a lot harder to read. Okay? Elbows in. Chin down, okay? Again, relax. We're not going chin down, it's just relaxed. Dropping it. Looking over your shades, kind of relaxed, okay? Nice and relaxed. We don't want anywhere from the temple, down the jawline, behind the ears to be exposed to a shot. Okay, and then as I move forward, as I engage, my guard will come up. So if I'm out of range, my guard's going to be here, and as soon as I engage a shot, my guard's going to start coming up. Whichever hand goes out, the other one's coming up. As this comes back, this one comes up. Very, very important. A lot of people start throwing shots and the guard coming down again, okay? Practice in the mirror, nice and relaxed, forward, back, left, right. All right? That's our footwork, that's our base, and that is how I would like to see people starting off. Nice and relaxed, forward, back, left, right. Chin down, guard up, hands relaxed, everything relaxed. If my hands are tight in my gloves, my tendons are all tight, my arms are tight, my shoulders are tight, and I become a robot. No good at all. My hands are relaxed in my gloves, I can flow with it. Everything flows much easier. When I throw a punch, my hands are loose in my glove until it's almost halfway, it locks, it loads, and boom, and the shot comes through. Okay, that's when I close my hand halfway through that shot. If I try and keep my hand tense, it's robotic, and the guy's much more easy. It's making it much more easy to tell, much more easy for him to read that shot. And when we start going to counter fighters, that's just giving them a gift. It's telling them to hit you first. So nice and relaxed in your gloves. The more relaxed and flowing we can be, the better our technique's going to be. Okay, so we talked about moving that base, and the basic way that we get our stance, our boxing stance, our fighting stance. There's a lot of variation to that. We can talk about that in another video. The way I teach, I'll teach you. If you're right-handed, I'll teach you orthodox. If you're left-handed, I'll teach you southpaw. If you're tall, I'll teach you how to fight tall, and if you're short, I'll teach you how to fight short. And then we learn everybody's tricks. So I will teach you then the opposite stance. I will then want you to fight long, even if you're not that tall. I would like to, if you're tall, to learn how to fight short and stocky, coming in, slipping and moving. We try and learn everybody's skill. So as many different fighters as we need to be. We've got as many different keys to as many different locks as possible. The problem I've found, in my experience, more the old school way of teaching was you've come into a gym, you're right-handed, so therefore you're an orthodox fighter, and that's it. We're going no further than that. You're just going to get really, really good at that, and you can see that some gyms are still like that, and the technique is fantastic. You can see them walk in the gym, and you can see straight away they're a really good boxer, or a really good stand-up fighter. You can see it a million miles off. The technique's sharp, it's crisp. But the problem with just working on that style is you could have 10, 15, 20 fights and beat everybody, and then come across one opponent who's just that little bit faster on that technique, or is just out-timing you or something, just got your rhythm, or worked out your rhythm. By learning the opposite stance, by pushing yourself and teaching yourself to be as good in the opposite stance as you are in your given stance, you're just giving yourself more options. So that's how we teach anyway. This is coming back to hands now. Okay, so we've come through the base and how we stand, and now I'm going to go over our first two punches. Our first two punches are going to be our jab and our backhand, because they come from the same place. They come from our back foot 90% of the time. Okay, there's variations on it, but the way I see it, the power derives from my back foot. Alright, and I can prove that by showing you my old boxing boots, and I've got a hole in the toe where I'm constantly pushing through that back toe to get the power out. There's other ways of proving it. We'll start with the technique first. Going back to our boxing stance, or our fighting stance, nice neutral stance, front foot slightly unturned, heel able to lift and float if needs be, weight slightly over the front of our feet, bending them knees. Okay, we don't want straight legs, we don't want flat feet, bending them legs, and nice and relaxed, everything flowing, chin down, guard up, elbows in, and then we're going to start working on our first punch. Now, our first punch is the jab. One of the most underrated punches. Everyone wants to throw a big backhand, okay? But imagine the front hand, your jab, is the point of the arrow. And without that point, the rest of the arrow is no good. If you don't concentrate on your jab, and you don't have a very good jab, you're going to find it very hard to start putting other shots and other combinations forward, okay? In order to make to keep my opponent away, to create openings, and to create that flinch movement that I want to be able to then start throwing other shots, I have to have a good jab. People skip this, and then they wonder why they're always battling, trying to just throw big daft shots. Concentrate on your good jab, concentrate on footwork, and 90% of people out there wouldn't even be able to touch you. They wouldn't even get close to you, because you just dance around them and sticking that jab in the face. That's where we're going to go. So, jab. My jab comes through my back foot. That's how I feel. Okay, that's the mechanics behind the punch. I want you to start feeling where a punch comes from, and this will come in handy when we start switching stances. The back foot, right? So, elbows in. I'm going to push through my back foot, and I'm going to lift the weight ever so slightly off my front foot, and I'm going to extend my hand. Boom. The important thing is this. It's great being offensive. It's no good if we start punching like this, because we're going to get knocked out. It doesn't matter how good my technique is then. Push, lift slightly, let your hand come out. I want you to imagine this is an extension of your leg. It's not this. That's an arm punch, and it's no good. You get a lot of decent lads who still they flick this out, and yeah, all right, I can see the point, but you're not getting anything behind that. Connect it to your foot, and that becomes potent. It becomes a very, very potent punch. You can knock people out with a jab if it's done right. Push through your toe, through your leg, and allow this to step forward or lighten up. Okay, so if I just lighten the front foot, just a normal jab. I'll do it this side. If I just lighten the foot, it's just a normal jab. If I want to put more into it, I'm going to let my front foot slide forward, all right? Lift and slide, as if it's on ice, little bead of ice underneath. Push my back foot, let this slide forward. That's going to take the line of the power further forward past my opponent, still connected to the floor. Boom. If his head's here, there's a jab, great. If I stick, I push through my back leg and I move this, it's gone through his head. It also allows me to push back and step back to where I was. This is what a lot of tall guys do, or a lot of people starting off. They'll try and get further distance with their jab, and what they do is they lift the back leg off, like this. Yeah? I hate seeing that in class. It does my head in. As soon as this lifts off, as soon as that back leg lifts off, power's gone. That is now just an arm. Okay? Push through your back leg, allow your front foot to slide, and keep this connected. And be connected to the punch through the floor. That punch is going to land a lot faster, a lot harder, and do a lot more damage. Push, slide, and come back. Okay, so we went over our footwork before, so you can go forward, back, left, right. Push, slide, come back. Okay? That's your jab. Going back to our backhand. Going back to our backhand. Our backhand. Right? The reason I call it a backhand and not a right straight, right, is because the technique I teach again is switch fighting. Right? I want all my students to become switch fighters if they can. So by calling it a jab or a backhand, it doesn't matter which stance I'm in, it's always going to be a backhand. And that will come in really, really handy when we go into switch fighting later on. So, backhand, exact same mechanics. It's pushing through my back foot and the front foot is lightening slightly. Or, if I want to put power down, if I really want to throw that shot, it's going to step forward. Okay? Opponent's here, there's a backhand, opponent's here and I want to put a power down, I want to step through that shot. Now there's things we need to do with that. If I want to commit with a backhand, for instance without throwing a jab, I'm going to give myself, put myself in risk of getting countered with that nasty counter, which is another backhand straight down the pipe. So what I do, if I'm throwing a 1-2, my head's straight down the line. We'll talk about lines later, I work in lines in my head. If I'm throwing a 1-2, we're punching down the line. Okay, that's fine. If I want to commit with this backhand, I'm going to slightly drop my head off line, 1, 2. So if he counters, his backhand should go over my shoulder. If I just want to risk a backhand, let's say I think I'm going to get the timing on him, or I don't care, there's 10 seconds after the fight and I'm down on points, I just want to start throwing bombs, I'm going to drop my head off right over the side here. So as I throw my backhand with nothing, I will throw it and drop my head. So if he does counter, hopefully it's going over my shoulder. Okay, I'm just going to finish up quickly with our footwork. So, a couple of little pointers. I see a lot of people coming into class and obviously we're not allowed shoes in here. Okay, the boss man says no shoes, so there's never any shoes. Are you allowed boxing boots? Are you allowed bare feet? Spot on. People wear socks. Socks are no good. You're never going to be able to feel your feet properly and connected to the ground. And as I say, all of our striking hands are coming through the feet. Okay, so if you're trying to do fine art on a drawing pad and you've got big thick gloves on, you can't feel it properly, you're never going to get good at fine art. And the same goes for this. So my biggest tip is wear boxing boots or wrestling boots. I actually prefer wrestling boots, grappling boots, because they're smoother and it allows more turn rather than some of the boxing boots are a bit more grippy for canvas. But we're not allowed on canvas these days. Or, obviously if we're doing K1, MMA, go barefoot. Yeah, barefoot's just as good. You might rip your toes a bit until the skin gets stronger, but barefoot's good too. As long as you can feel the mat, the canvas, the floor, whatever it is under your feet. I hate seeing socks in training. You're never going to get that feeling. We're going to start our footwork like an infant would start drawing. Their drawings would be all over the place. The whole thing like this, or the crayon like this, and it's all over. As we get older, we get more experienced with it. It becomes finer. We can do fine art, and it's the same with our feet. So we'll start plodding left, right, okay, and eventually then movements will become small. So when we start doing little feints, it can be little movements, little tiny movements that can create all sorts of angles, all sorts of opportunities. The same goes when we start switching. So once I've got confident with my footwork, I can start crossing things over, I can start setting things up a different way. We can start switching shots. We can start moving around people by doing certain things. We can do all sorts of naughty little tricks to bring us into position and open opportunities up. It all starts, I don't even know if I'm still on camera there, it all starts with basic foot movement. And if you skip your basic foot movement, you're never going to get proficient with anything more advanced. And your punches will never get to where they need to be. Even if you've been doing it a while now, try and incorporate this drill. Forward, back, left, right. Throw some shots. Do it in a mirror. A mirror is such a good tool for striking. People will do this 100 times and I'll tell them, you guard down, oh right, yeah, okay, and they'll bring it down again. Until you're looking at yourself in the mirror or record yourself and you see your own mistakes, that's when you start to improve. So mirror work, record yourself and drill. Doesn't matter how good you are, how experienced you are, drill the basics, always drill the basics. Yeah, we all want to be Floyd Mayweather, but drill the basics. That's how you'll be better than your opponent. So that's lesson 1. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it at least. Again, these are all just my ideas from my own experience. Any other coaches or fighters out there who disagree with me, totally fine, totally fine. I teach my students to go to other gyms, to go and take as much knowledge as possible from as many people as possible. That's how you truly become a fully rounded fighter. So take my ideas if you want. If you don't want, move on to the next video. Anything else people would like to know off this particular video, drop us a comment. If you like the video and you want to see more, please like it, please subscribe, and I'll try and do a bit more and make a bit better content. Yeah, thanks very much for watching.